B2B advertising, email as a lead gen booster. Email turns B2B ad attention into pipeline. If you're running B2B advertising without a real email engine behind it, you're paying to fill a leaky bucket. Paid search, paid social, sponsorships, and events can create awareness fast, but awareness doesn't create revenue on its own. Email is what turns anonymous clicks into conversations your SDRs can actually work. The reason is simple. Email is both scalable and compounding. Benchmarks regularly put email at roughly $36 to $42 in return for every $1 spent, which is a level of efficiency most paid channels can't touch when you measure all the way down to meetings and opportunities. When you connect ads to email properly, your cost per opportunity drops because you keep earning touches after the first click. In practice, we treat email as the lead gen booster for every other channel. Every paid click, landing page visit, webinar registration, or retargeting impression should have a planned next step that lives in an email cadence owned by your SDR process. That mindset is what separates teams that buy traffic from teams that build pipeline. Where email fits in modern B2B advertising. Most teams define advertising as what they pay platforms for, but the real leverage is what happens after the click on channels you own. Email is the bridge between paid intent and sales execution because it lets you follow up consistently with context at near zero marginal cost. It's also the channel many buyers actually prefer, with multiple studies putting email preference around 77 to 80% versus calls or social DMs. The key mental shift is to treat an email address as permission for persistent, targeted micro ads. Instead of paying for another impression, you can run a multi-touch sequence that references the exact offer, the exact pain, and the exact persona the ad attracted. Over time, your house list becomes an asset that makes your entire demand gen program cheaper. Design an ad-to-email system, not a newsletter. The fastest way to waste ad budget is to collect leads and then funnel everyone into the same generic nurture. Instead, map each paid campaign and landing page to a specific email sequence with a specific sales outcome. When that mapping exists, your SDR team can treat ad-sourced leads like warm outbound, not anonymous traffic. We recommend starting with 3 to 5 core segments and building around them before you chase fancy personalization. Segment by ICP tier, A, B, C accounts. Persona, decision maker versus influencer, and buying stage, top of funnel education versus bottom of funnel evaluation. This is where the up to 760% more revenue impact from segmentation shows up in real pipeline numbers, because your copy sounds like it was written for the reader. Operationally, this requires clean handoffs and clean data. UTM parameters, campaign naming, and CRM fields should tell your SDRs what the leads saw, what they downloaded, and what the next best ask is. Without that connective tissue, marketing optimizes for clicks, sales optimizes for dials, and nobody can explain why pipeline is inconsistent. Turn paid clicks into meetings with the right cadences. The goal of ad follow-up email isn't engagement, it's replies and meetings. Build each sequence backward from the conversation you want and use one clear CTA per email, ideally a low-friction step like a 15-minute audit, benchmark review, or teardown. Keep the copy tight, often under 125 words, and make the first line unmistakably connected to the asset or page they touched. Cadences should match intent. A top-of-funnel guide download can support a longer nurture, while a pricing page visit usually demands a shorter, more direct sequence that addresses risk, ROI, and next steps. The point is not to email more, but to follow up with the right message at the right speed while the click is still fresh. For high-intent leads, don't wait until the end of the automation to involve sales. Route the lead to an SDR while the sequence is running so the prospect experiences coordinated outreach, not a marketing drip followed by a random rep email 2 weeks later. That alignment is a big reason multi-channel outbound can lift engagement by nearly 3x and conversions by 3x when executed as one system. Every paid click should start an email cadence with a clear sales outcome, or you're just renting attention instead of building pipeline. Best practices that keep email converting at scale. Segmentation and personalization are not nice to have if you want email to function like advertising. When you tailor subject lines, openers, and value props to the segment, you protect engagement and keep your message relevant as volume increases. Done well, this is how you turn a single ad conversion into multiple meaningful touches without sounding repetitive. Automation is the force multiplier, but only if it's built around real intent signals. Automated programs are often cited as generating 320% more revenue than one-off sends because they deliver consistent, timely follow-up that humans won't execute perfectly at scale. The practical takeaway is to automate the when and what, then have SDRs own the why now and the conversation. Deliverability has to be treated like a revenue line item. Use authenticated sending, SPF, DKIM, DMARC, scale volume gradually, warm up domains, and clean lists regularly so you don't pay for ads that feed sequences landing in spam. If you want email to be a dependable lead gen booster, inbox placement is the first KPI to protect. Common mistakes that quietly kill performance, and how to fix them. The most common failure mode is treating email as a standalone channel instead of part of your B2B advertising system. When email isn't connected to campaign context, website intent, and SDR workflows, you get siloed metrics and leaky funnels. The fix is straightforward. Tie UTMs and conversion events to CRM fields and ensure every major ad path triggers a specific sequence and SDR play. The next mistake is blasting the entire list with generic messaging and then wondering why performance decays. Generic emails drag down engagement, damage sender reputation, and train your best fit accounts to ignore you. Segment by ICP, stage, and source so your message feels timely, and keep the ask focused on a single next step rather than multiple links and learn more clutter. Finally, teams over-optimize for opens instead of replies and opportunities. Opens are a health check, not the outcome, and they can be noisy due to privacy changes. Success should be measured in reply rate, meeting rate, and pipeline created. When SDRs and marketing align on that scoreboard, you stop celebrating vanity metrics and start building a repeatable machine. Advanced optimization. Cold email as net new advertising. Cold email is still viable advertising for net new accounts when it's targeted, compliant, and valuable. Typical response rates hover around 8.5%. While best-in-class campaigns can hit 15 to 25% when segmentation and personalization are done properly. The difference is almost always list quality, relevance, and the clarity of the CTA. This is also where multi-channel matters. Email should anchor a sequence that adds LinkedIn touches and selective calling over 10 to 20 business days so prospects see one consistent story rather than random pings from different tools. If you're exploring a cold email agency, an SDR agency, or broader sales outsourcing, push for a process that coordinates touches and tracks outcomes across channels, not just send volume. When phone is part of your motion, it should reinforce, not contradict, your emails. The best cold calling services operate like an extension of the email narrative. Same positioning, same offer, same timing, and tighter feedback loops on objections. That coordination is what turns an outsourced sales team into a true outbound sales agency partner instead of a disconnected activity vendor. Next steps. Build a repeatable email engine that lowers CAC over time. If you want email to consistently amplify your B2B advertising, start with a simple build, measure, improve loop. Map your current paid campaigns to dedicated sequences, define a handful of segments, and make sure SDRs see the exact ad or asset that triggered each lead. Then move your dashboards to meeting rate and pipeline value so the organization optimizes for revenue outcomes, not marketing activity. Protect the fundamentals while you scale. Put a recurring monthly routine in place for list hygiene, bounce management, and deliverability checks, and review sender reputation the same way you review ad efficiency. This is where many teams stumble as volume increases, and it's why consistent deliverability work often shows up later as mysteriously improving pipeline. At SalesHive, we sit at the intersection of outbound and demand gen, so we've seen what works when email is treated as a system instead of a campaign. Whether you build in-house or partner with a B2B sales agency, the winning formula is the same: high-quality list-building services, tight segmentation, sequences built for replies, and SDR execution that follows up with context. When those pieces click together, email stops being another channel and becomes the engine that makes every ad dollar work harder.